Okay, we're ready to begin the special meeting. Christy, can you please call the roll?
It's right in front of you on the agenda. I should have.
Where it says directors on the top.
Can you invite
Here,
Steve Reynolds?
Here.
I'm sorry, can you also lower that mic down and then speak into it? Thank you.
Sorry. Steve Reynolds,
Here.
Christy McHugh is here. Lanny Smith,
Here.
Jody Walker,
Close enough.
Nellie Johnson,
here.
Dave Barker,
Here.
Art Hillier,
Here.
Chris McCrummen,
Here.
Barry Stock,
Here.
Scott Summers.
Here.
I would like to say something about the mics. The mics aren't for volume here. Their mics are for us to hear the meeting from the other side, the Zoom or when I'm doing minutes. So that's what the mics are for.
Mhm.
Can I?
Add about mics real quick. Sometimes we have hot mics and some of us don't know that. So there's intentionally a green button on here that you can turn on and off your mic. And when you're sitting in here or you're sitting out there, and you think you're having a private conversation with your buddy and this is on, we can all hear it. And sometimes it's amazing the things we hear. Now, we have a pretty good staff that can get rid of that stuff at the beginning or the end, but if there's other conversations going on, we can't blur that out. So just a heads up, if this is green, you got a hot mic. Let me tell you, I have said things that I regretted. So you're not the only one. It happens, but just remember.
So should they be on?
Well,
Only when you're talking.
Yeah.
Only when you talk, the way,
I always turn mine off, honestly,
Yes,
unless
I do.
I'm ready to talk, and then I will turn it on. And then I turn it off, and I actually do this too out of habit.
that reminds you to turn it on.
It kind of does.
Yeah, rockstar.
So there we go. Yeah, it's rough.
There's scars around them.
All right.
Okay,
Just a little tip.
thank you. All right, so moving right along, we've established a quorum. And the next thing on our agenda is to amend or adopt the current agenda.
I move to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? No? Okay, did you get who first and seconded? Okay, all right, all in favor to accept the agenda, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and Jody's 10. So it's unanimous. Okay, we're going to move on to the action items, which is appoint and approve the committee chairs. And these are my nominees. It's exciting, isn't it? Okay. For the Financial Affairs Committee, Mr. Lanny Smith. For the Board Affairs Committee, Mr. Steve Reynolds. For the Investment Chair, Mr. Bart Hillier. And for the Audit Committee, Mr. Dave Barker.
You need a motion?
Yep,
Go ahead. I make a motion, we accept the chairs.
I second. Okay, any comments, anybody? Okay, all in,
Wait,
oh,
what is the audit?
What? You can't back out now.
What is the, what's required of being the head of the audit? I mean, am I supposed to do all the audit or am I overseeing the?
It's about 6 weeks of work, gotta review it all.
yes, do you want me to tell you why I nominated you, Dave? I think I told you.
me.
Okay. Okay.
No, I just didn't know if I'm overseeing somebody from the, management. Is that how it work? Am I working with somebody with GVR?
Do you want to take that, Scott, and explain?
Sure. So our finance director is the liaison to the audit committee and Dave, and he will be pulling things together with the auditor. The auditor knows exactly what they're supposed to do. So they do their independent audit. Your job is to really have the meetings, pull together the committee members, facilitate a discussion, review the audit. If you have follow-up questions, you can reach out to the auditor. I will say we've had previous audit committees that felt it was their job to dig into the audit, and we said, well, wait a minute, that's what the third-party independent auditor is for. And if the independent auditor isn't finding any challenges,
Okay,
then it's really not your job to find any challenges.
that's what I was hoping you'd say.
It's
So,
it's
yes,
pretty
I-
simple. It's really just to create a level of independence
Mhm.
so that there isn't the appearance that staff is somehow cooking the books.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
you're in. Okay, good.
Okay, good. So we have the motion, so did we vote on it already? I don't think we did. Okay, so let's vote on the motion, and the motion is to adopt, appoint and approve the committee chairs of the 4 people. Okay, so all in favor, raise your hands, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So unanimous. Thank you very much. And now we're going to move on to the action item B, approval of the tentative annual calendar, what we've all been waiting for. Oh. Go ahead, Scott.
Oh, thank you. So we prepared a tentative calendar here. We heard the consensus for the most part at the last meeting on trying to be efficient with your time, trying to group items together under certain meetings. There's been a tradition, and it seemed like there was interest in taking July off and December off. Am I remembering that right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. We've gone a little bit further. We've populated this, just trying to anticipate what's going to happen in the next year. You can see we've got a pretty big meeting on the 22nd. We may have a board work session on the 22nd also, asking you to review and discuss the survey questions that the consultant for the strategic plan is going to develop. We want to make sure that we get your input on that before we actually move forward. Since we don't have a contract yet in place with the consultant, the meeting for the meeting is tentative for the 22nd. And that's just because they may not be able to pull it together by then, but they might be able to. And again, we're trying to lump your meetings together so that you're only here a limited amount of time. We've got the strategic plan coming up. We don't really anticipate any other action items in May or June other than the strategic plan. That could change because things do change. But right now, this is what we're anticipating. Normally, we would ask the board to approve committee work plans at the May meeting. We've moved it. I mean, if you want, you can have a special meeting maybe on the 13th if necessary. Again, we were trying to group it when you're having your regular meetings. There's nothing that says the committee can't start work and then the board can retro approve those committee plans. I think that's reasonable and likely. So that's why we have put that in for the 24th. We've also put the strategic plan approval on the 24th. That might be a little optimistic, to be honest, but it's possible. 5 years ago, the board approved it in July. If it can't be approved in June and you're not meeting in July, there's no reason this can't be bumped to August. So we can very easily move approval of the strategic plan to August if necessary. August 12th. We're really just anticipating that we're going to have some recommendations from the BAC on the CPM. 26th would be the regular meeting, approval of those recommendations, your quarterly financial report, as well as your informational report on how we're doing with our work plan for this year. September, we had this as an if needed last year, and so we've intentionally put if needed here, just like we did for May 27th. We're not quite sure if we need that, but we didn't want to necessarily take it off because we still want you to kind of keep it open just in case. But at this point, we don't have anything that we're anticipating that needs to happen then. The bigger lift is October. You'll have an FAC recommendation on the budget that we're scheduled for work session on the 14th. The FAC will likely have vetted and discussed a lot of that. And some of you will either participate in those meetings or you may just watch the video if you want. That's certainly an option. But we will bring a recommendation for you and we'll be able to discuss in greater detail on the 14th, the recommended budget. And then on the 28th, we have the approval of the budget as well as the approval of the record date. And the record date is, Nancy, you all know what this is, but can you explain it to me?
The record date is when we cut off for membership
Right.
payment of dues. And then after that, you cannot, if you didn't pay your dues, let's say by January 28th, you can't vote.
Yeah. So it involves voting. And you cannot vote if you're not a member in good standing. So you got to pay your dues, Steve. Yes, it is. So November, again, we don't know what's going to happen. At this point, we're not really anticipating anything. You're going to take December off. And then we just left January and February and March on here as they are. But again, this is tentative. We've got page 2 in your packet actually, I'm sorry. This is backwards. This was the other item. So don't even look at that. Sorry, that's a different discussion. You've got in your CPM now language, I think it needs to be updated still on the website, that says it's tentative, the CEO and the president can make adjustments to this without coming back to the board for approval. So again, tentative, but this is kind of what we're anticipating. So we're asking you to consider approval of what we've put before you, or with some amendments.
You need to, go ahead. Go ahead, Lanny.
Thank you. Scott, just an operational question. Review survey questions. Is that also the plan in addition to the survey questions? So how the rollout, the audience, focus groups, like, are they presenting or just the questions? Probably too early to say.
I had really anticipated this would just be the questions. We could certainly expand it a little bit. I think once you move forward with bringing on a consultant, the consultant's going to have probably another meeting with you. I know they're going to have multiple meetings. Who do you want to reach out to for outreach? We'll give them some suggestions too. But they're going to certainly want to hear from you. So we could easily expand that discussion on the 22nd to who are we going to include as a focus group? But this was really more on, we've got survey questions. We use mostly the same ones every few years so that we can see some trend analysis. But I think there's some specific things that we want answered this year, or at least to get, a taste or a flavor of where the membership is. So we want to make sure we don't miss any of those questions.
Okay, thank you. That answers.
Great.
Nellie?
With the
with the bylaw changes, and the nominations process being absorbed under Board Affairs, I'm looking at the dates. There are some dates that have to be met with regard if there are any bylaw changes. So do these meeting dates fit in when you have to get clearance with the attorney and all the work that's done? Because they met quite frequently, I think, between May and October, for example.
Yeah, I'll tell you, right now, I don't anticipate any bylaws recommendations coming this next year. It could certainly happen. And if it does, I think there's room within this
The dates.
calendar to be able to come back to the board and get any type of approval. Again, you could, if you need to, you could do that in September very easily.
Okay.
You could even do it in October and we would have enough
Have enough.
time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then my second question is, it's not on the dates. I think the calendar dates work well. On the April 22nd, I thought that we were looking at doing the approval of the committee appointments on April 8th. We had moved it up we moved up this meeting for the chairs and then to have April 8th so that the finance FAC meets on the 21st.
It is true.
Yeah, so that was to be moved up.
Right, I
Okay.
should have moved that up, yes.
Okay, all right, that's what I thought. Thank you.
So that's the special meeting that we're having on the 8th, in addition to approval of the consultant.
And
It
now
was-
that entails though, the chair, the president.
Yeah.
And the CEO getting together to look at the committee
Before.
Yeah, right,
before.
right.
So that means what we anticipated is what we actually put on page 2.
Except the
The-
FAC.
the red
is
line.
Scheduled to meet February or April 21st.
So we don't need to meet on the FAC doesn't need to meet. We've already had 3 meetings this year. And CPM says we only have to meet at the minimum quarterly. So if we miss April and we move it on to either May or June, because Dave will be giving us a quarterly financial report at the board meeting anyway.
Sure.
So I don't know about the rest of you, but I don't know about the rest of you, but we'd just be extending the 8th from 9 till 5 PM. And I would rather just, we don't need an April 21st Financial Affairs Committee. We've already had one. Sure.
Nellie? I believe we passed a motion and approved it to move it. So it would, we moved we moved the chair and the committee assignments up by one date. And we kept the consultants, the orientation, and the consultant report because Scott said he had already scheduled the interviews.
We did.
I'm looking.
Nancy is pulling it together. If we do move forward on the 8th as likely motioned and approved, that means President, CEO,
Yeah.
what's going on here?
Something very important.
I see that.
Nourishment.
And the chairs of the committees, which reminds me, we need to pull some of these posters down.
Right.
The chairs of the committees to review the applications and put together our slate.
Right.
So we'll have to pull them together pretty quickly. We've got tomorrow and Friday and Monday and Tuesday.
Okay, so it looks like the minutes from the special meeting after the annual meeting says, we moved and seconded to move the April 8th special meeting to April 1st for approval of the committee chairs, but there is no talk about, moving the
Oh,
committee.
appointments.
It was talked about, but there's
was
no,
talked
but
about.
there's
Never
no.
voted. It was never
Right.
voted on. I agree. I don't recall that.
Well, I will add, I mean, I don't see the urgency. You could still do this on the 22nd. We don't have to pull you all together within the next 4 working days then, which is maybe helpful. And then you could hit the ground running in May with your committees, and I would think that would be adequate.
We're going to get a quarterly report from Dave.
So you know, we'll do whatever you want, but I don't think you have to have this done by the 8th.
Do we need to have discussion about that? Keep it on the 22nd to talk about the committee compositions?
Sounds good to me.
Anybody?
All right.
Do we need to make a motion or are we
Well, we
okay?
haven't had a motion for.
For the calendar.
So
Okay.
You might want that in the discussion.
Okay. So we need a motion to accept this calendar.
So moved.
Is that where I'm at? Okay.
Was that?
Oh, yeah. Barry seconded, Bart first. All right. So in order to accept this calendar as it is, please raise your hand.
Well, actually, can we have discussion? Just ask if there's any more
Any more?
discussion.
Oh, sorry. Is there any more discussion about the calendar or any meeting on the calendar?
As long as you all recognize it's fluid. This just gives you kind of a heads up.
I just want to ask one question about the executive session on April 8th. It says legal. Are we still going to need that?
It is, because you're going to hear presentations from the two consultants.
Okay,
It's legal because you're going to be entering into a contract with them. And the contract is binding.
okay.
But it's not personnel related, it's more legal related, and we can have executive sessions for both.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good one.
Okay. Nellie?
Just a question on the committee appointments, on the 22nd of whether you'd want to have an executive session on that, since in some ways you're looking at, I consider,
Private.
private information and discussion as part of assignment of different committees, and you're talking volunteers, personnel. So I would consider that a qualified executive session.
I agree, and that's probably a good idea. Would you all be willing to do 1 o'clock on that day for that?
On the 22nd?
Yeah?
Okay, one,
Does that go into tennis?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Yes. What is that due to the,
You could maybe do 1:30.
Yeah.
30 would work.
Yeah, you've got the work session. We'd have to move the work session. Well, Bart, I know you want to be here for the questions for the survey.
I can't think of anything that would throw me more, just be present for that.
You could also move your work session to the end of the meeting and do it after the regular meeting. I don't expect they will be at that meeting,
Which meeting?
the meeting to review the questions, but they might be. I guess I hadn't anticipated that, but they could. I don't think they need to be. I think we would say, what additional questions do you have as a group collectively that you want as part of this survey?
Good idea.
So I don't think they need to be there for that. I think we can give them that information.
So Chris had a question. Oh, okay. Nellie?
I was just going to move the amendment to create an executive session on April 22nd at 1:30 in order to approve the committee appointments.
Okay, that would be a motion.
Not an amendment to the,
No,
did we already
because we're-
vote on the calendar?
No, we haven't voted on it, but it's a whole nother, well, I see it's adding.
It's adding a date.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I think amendment's fine. We've got Nellie. We can also just agree to it.
Sounds good to me.
Chris, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, just a technical question being new. On the if needed meetings, is there like some kind of protocol? Is this like a game time decision, or is it like usually like 7 days? Like, hey, we're not gonna have that meeting, and it's just as an email. I just wanted to know, just for my own knowledge.
So we send this out every week.
Okay.
And it's updated as best we can every week. So I think we'll have a pretty good handle on if we need a meeting or not, probably way before 7 days, I'm thinking.
Just wanted-
So hopefully you can adjust your calendar within maybe 2 or 3 weeks ahead, because we do try to look ahead and not surprise you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Nellie, can you go ahead and say your amendment again,
Okay, all right.
please?
I move the amendment to the calendar to do an executive session on Wednesday, April 22nd at 1:30 relating to the approval of the committee appointments.
I second.
Is there any other discussion about anything on the calendar?
Yes. Does that mean you want to keep your 1 PM work session on the questions, survey questions, or do you want to move that to after your regular meeting? So you'd then start at 1:30. That would certainly help
Yeah.
Bart with tennis. And I think that would be
Yeah.
fine if you're all in agreement with that.
And there's a possibility that we won't have, consultant, right?
The questions, we have the questions.
So we do.
Yeah, because we basically use the same year after year. We'll give those to you ahead of time. And then if you have additional questions that you want asked, you can submit those to us. We'll put together a master list. And then at this meeting, we can say we agree or we don't agree with this question, or can we reword it? And I think staff would initially try to consolidate and make it as efficient as possible before we even get to this meeting.
So,
Oh, Nellie.
so what if we started at 1 o'clock on the survey questions and then moved to 1:30 on the committee appointments? And if you needed more,
Oh,
and then
sure.
concluded at the end of the board meeting.
Certainly, yeah. No.
If I have any important input, oh, I hope this is true of everybody, but I hope if I have any input as to survey questions, I'll submit some sort of email. But I probably won't show up at the meeting until about 1:30.
I think that's fine. I mean, that makes sense. You're not being asked to approve them at this. It's just a work session.
Yeah, work session.
So, but consensus would be nice, if we can get that, where everyone's pretty much nodding their heads and saying, yeah, those questions are good.
When do the questions get decided on? What?
We haven't gone to the board in the past to approve the questions. It's kind of been intentional because we didn't want certain board members' agendas coming out in the questions. And we didn't want to politicize it through a vote. So we really left it kind of up to the consultant and staff. And so I don't really think you have to have the approval, but you certainly could. But I don't think it's necessary. I think if we can get the board nodding heads and saying, yeah, these all look pretty good, that would be enough and adequate to then go back to the consultant, and they can start getting the survey out to the members.
Did I read where Zellos has a separate survey software they use? Did I read that properly?
They did the survey for us last time, and I
Yeah.
don't remember if it's a separate software, but
Okay.
I'm sure they do, because they did our random survey 2 or 3 years ago and did a pretty good job, I thought.
Okay.
I know we're not talking about this, but Bridge Group would consult with another local firm out of Arizona to do their survey.
Okay.
Yeah.
They'd subcontract it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Roftelis would also subcontract out with Polko, which is a major national survey firm.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, to review before, I'm sorry. Okay, so to review before we vote on the final acceptance of the calendar, the 8th is going to be the orientation and starting the strategic plan and having the legal talk and that kind of thing. Okay, on the 15th, we don't have anything planned. And then on April 22nd, we're going to meet at 1 o'clock to review the survey questions, at 1:30 to come up with a composition of each committee, and then go into the regular board meeting at 2. Is that good? And then the rest of the calendar should be okay?
We do need to vote on the amendment.
We do, oh, okay.
the committee.
I seconded the amendment and right, we need to vote on the amendment. Okay, the amendment, which was basically, I think what I just reviewed on the 22nd to go ahead and talk about the survey at 1, appointments at 1:30, and then the board meeting at 2. Okay, that's the amendment that I seconded. Okay, all in favor? Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Jody, unanimous. Thank you.
Then you need to vote on that. As amended.
Okay, now we need to vote on the calendar as amended. That's my motion. I need a second, right?
No,
It's already.
You've already got Bart and Barry.
Okay. So we just need to vote on it as amended.
Mhm.
Okay, all right, all in favor to accept the calendar as amended, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Unanimous. Thank you.
Wow. Good job.
Oh, thank you.
You've got 2 unanimous votes at your first meeting.
That's good.
Yeah, don't-
Okay, now for any kind of member comments, can I move on to that? Sir, do you have any comments?
Okay.
You can read your shirt.
Oh. My daughter-in-law, actually, she paid me the ultimate, my name's Rick Browning, first of all. She paid me the ultimate compliment and called me her adopted dad.
Oh, that's nice.
So, tells you my little relationship with her. But anyway,
Hey, Rick Brown, what is
Rick
your,
Browning, 193646.
okay,
Been coming to these for a while, surprised I was the only one here, so hello.
Mhm.
I'm beginning to find out, GVR is not as localized as I thought it was when I got here. I'll be very honest with you, until the pool at Grego South has come up, I really didn't care about any of the other pools. But I see through my mom, I see through some of the others, the groups that they had, going to different pools, but it's 4 different pools now. So my recommendation to the existing board and new members, et cetera, is keep what you've got. You can build on, you can add things down the road, but keep what you've got. These are promises made to people. I got figures, going back to GVR dues back to 1978. My mom was paying dues 2 years before that. $17,700 is what she paid in dues to this place. Please maintain what you've got before you do anything too new or cut away. That's all I ask.
thank you. And I think you came before, didn't you?
Yes, I
I
have.
remember you. I remember you. Thank you for coming again today. Okay, do we have anything else to add, anybody?
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, we are adjourned now at what time? Oh, 2:33. That's good.
Nice job.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Okay.
Early. 5 o'clock, 7.